Hey YouTube, Ben the Bondsman here, and this is going to be a video about the bonding business. So if you don't like bondsmen, just click off now. So I get asked about 3 questions more often than any other questions. The first question is, so how does bail bonding work? Second question is, are you like blank the bounty hunter? I'm pretty sure I don't need to fill that in. I hate that question. And the third is, how do I get into the business? That question gets asked for 1 or 2 reasons. One, somebody wants to make a living, getting people out of jail. They're interested in the ins and outs of the business. Or 2, they want to strap on a badge and a gun and go kick indoors. Man, I can't tell you how many times somebody said, man, you ought to take me with you. I can kick in a door and beat somebody down. That crawls up my spine when somebody says that. I can't stand it. Because it tells me the image that people have of what we do. And there are a lot of people that have that idea of what we do for a living. And that's just not how it is. Not for me anyway. There might be some guys out there that do that. But, you know, for the guys asking how you get into this business, I want to start with, 1, you find somebody that's hiring, you get a job, and you go to work for them and you learn the business. From time to time, I'll have somebody say, well, my cousin or my brother or my dad used to do it. I mean, everybody I run into used to be a bondsman, and they know everything about it. Well, I've been doing this job for a long time, the better part of 15 years. And you run into a lot of fly-by-night people, and they do a lot of damage to this industry. And it drives me crazy. You know, I've had a couple people say, well, can't I just put a team of people together and, you know, go out and look for these people? I'm pretty good at finding people. Yeah, you can, but a better idea would be to take a roofing nailer and find the sturdiest stud in your house and nail your hand to it. You'll do less damage to yourself than you will out there on the streets knocking on doors, not knowing what you're doing. I promise you it'll hurt a lot less. You know, somebody wants to just throw a team together of people that think they know how to do a job because they watched one too many episodes on TV. Man, that's just insanity. That'd be like me going and digging into a electrical panel, and I've never been taught anything about how to deal with electricity or how to do electrical work. That's exactly what it's like. It's dangerous. It can cost you your life, somebody else their life, or land you in prison, which happens more often than you think. Those people drive me nuts. If you want to learn how to do a job, you go learn and how to do the job from somebody that knows how to do the job. You don't just wake up one morning and decide, I'm going to go start putting people in jail. And there are people that do that, man. And they're literally taking their own life into their hands, and other people's too. You know, another thing is if you want to get into this business because you've been rejected by the law enforcement community, you can't get a job in law enforcement, and you just feel the need to put on a badge and strap on a gun and have some authority, well, this isn't the business for you. Stay out of it. You'll make us look bad. Go be a security guard somewhere. Put that badge on. Go flex your muscle at a bar or something with drunk people. And, you know, if you want to showboat, you want to put on a badge, this isn't the business for you. Matter of fact, I hate bounty hunting. I hate that. I'm in this business to get people out of jail and to help people. At the point that I have to go and take somebody's freedom away from them, it contradicts the very thing that I do for a living. it's not a part of the business I enjoy. Now, I'll admit, when I was younger, that's how I got into the business, was I was a freelance bounty hunter. And I got a kick out of it. I thought it was cool to be able to put somebody in jail. But as you get older, you start realizing exactly what you're doing. And if you're somebody that believes in freedom and the Constitution, then the very idea of being a part of taking somebody's freedom away should bother you. It does me. Even the drug dealers, there's a few, I'm not going to get real specific here, but there's a few people that they shouldn't have got out of jail in the first place. But you know what? That's what pays my bill, is getting those people out of jail. So I can't be too righteous about it. It just is what it is. Sometimes you got to deal with that. But there are some people, I don't care how much money they have, I don't care how much their bond is and how secure their bond is, I just won't get them. Certain charges, I won't. I can't bring myself to do it. But that's personal to me. There are people that have certain values in this business, believe it or not, that can't be compromised. And there are those cases for me. But if you're trying to get into this business because you've been there and done that, maybe you were a reserve police officer or even a career police officer, or you've never been in law enforcement, don't care to be in law enforcement, you just want to try something different as a career path, this might be the business for you. But it's not something that you just get into willy-nilly. I promise you that. You really need to know what you're getting into, because it costs, especially where I'm at, it costs a lot of money to get into this business. About around $2,000 after it's all said and done. $2,000 and a couple of months to get a license. And most people don't have that kind of money, and most companies don't pay for that process. So it's something you got to do serious research about. If you're the guy that, you were a cop for a while and you didn't like the rules and regulations that came along with doing that, stay out of this business, because all you'll do is make an ass out of yourself and make an ass out of the industry. I've been in this business for a long time, and I've seen a lot of fly-by-nights come through that thought that they were going to come in, make some easy money, and they last maybe 6 months, and they're out, and they leave a wake of bad publicity on their way out. I mean, it ruins the relationship we have with law enforcement, ruins the relationship we have with the public. It's just a bad deal to come in, try to make a quick buck, and then that you'll get run out of this business real fast. Now, don't get me wrong, it can be lucrative. The money spent on the license can be worth it, but it takes about 2 years before you really start making money in this business. I always tell people that the career span of most bondsmen is about a year to a year and a half, because it's hard. It's hard getting started. Even if you're somebody that knows a lot of people, and I hear this a lot. Somebody will say, "Oh, I know a bunch of people that stay in trouble." Well, if you're running in that kind of crowd, then maybe you need to reevaluate, the people you're hanging around, because that's not people I'd like to call friend, and those aren't the people I'd get out of jail, believe it or not. I don't write friends and family. I pass that on to other people. That they'll screw you faster than anybody in this business, because they think that, oh, well, Ben, man, he got me out of jail. He ain't gonna come chase me down and put me back in jail. So if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to go put them back in jail, you don't want to get them out of jail. I promise you that, because 9 times out of 10, those are the ones that don't go to court because they don't think that you're willing to do what you have to do. And it's real easy to say, I don't care who they are, I'll go put them back. But you know as well as I do, that's crap. You know? So I don't write friends and family. Now I have somebody within my company write them, but I won't. And it's kind of a rule in my company that if it's a friend or family member, pass it on to another agent. Doesn't matter how much the money is. I have one agent, she'll write a family member out in a heartbeat. But you know what? She'll go put them back in jail in a heartbeat too. So that's okay. Not a lot of people can do that. She's kind of cold like that. and she's been with me for a long time, so I know she'll do it. Anyway, to get into this business, just to get back to the point, go find a company. Apply for a job. You know, different states have different laws and different licensing procedures. And I can only speak to Mississippi because it's the only one that I keep up with every step of the way. And here, whether you want to bounty hunt or whether you want to get people out of jail, it's the same class, the same fees, the same time, and you still have to work for somebody. Here you can't open your own company unless you work for somebody for at least 3 years consecutively. And then you can go get what's called a professional class license, where you can work for yourself. But that costs a lot of money to get that license. You're into about $40,000 just to get that license. And then if you don't know what you're doing because you didn't go learn the business, then you're only going to last about a year, maybe 2, before you're shut down permanently by the state. And that was happening a lot. That's why they came up with that 3-year rule. We'd have people come in, they'd have the dough, they'd start up a company, go write up a whole bunch of liability and bonds, and when them bonds start going to court, they're out of business. And then all them people are out there without a bondsman and not getting notified of their court dates. And it's just disastrous. You don't go into any field without knowing what you're doing. And if you want to come into this business because you can't get a job as a cop or you're just a idiot in general, stay out of it, man. Go work for a security company or go work for McDonald's. Make an honest living. But there's people that get into this business and they're criminals themselves. And they ride a fine line between being a criminal and dealing with criminals. And it makes us look bad. I can't stand them. I cannot stand them. They need to just stay out of my sandbox. And I'm not talking about the people that have made a mistake in their life. Everybody's got skeletons in their closet. People make mistakes. It's people that get into this line of work because no other law enforcement type job or even security job will have them. So they think, oh, man, anybody can be a bondsman. I order me a badge off the internet, go buy me a gun down at the pawn shop, and I'll go be a Billy Badass and impress my girlfriend or whatever. Those guys don't last. There are places, states that still allow you to do bounty hunting without a license, but just team up with somebody. It's not worth your life, and it's not as cool as you think it is. It's not action-packed and fun like everybody thinks it is. 90% of our job is on the phone or riding around, talking to people, knocking on doors, talking to people that have absolutely nothing to do with the person that we're looking for. They just happen to have an address that was on the application at the time that person bonded out, but they don't know him from Adam. You know, you got to remember too, if you want to get into this business to be a bounty hunter, well, first in Mississippi you'll starve to death. I can tell you that without a doubt. But you got to keep in mind that whoever you got in that car with you, backing you up, That's all you're getting. You call the cops, they'll tell you real quick, we can't help you. I remember calling the police department one time saying, hey man, I got a guy on the other side of the door with a gun. He won't open the door, and the person I'm looking for is in there. The dispatcher said, hold on a second. She came back about a minute later, said, supervisor says if anybody gets shot, call us. Other than that, we can't help. So that's what you run into here in Mississippi anyway. It's not like that everywhere, but for the most part here in Mississippi, that's what it's like. And I know that's what it's like in Louisiana too. You call the cops, you're not getting help. And they'll tell you that if you have to defend your life, you better hope that you're defending your life against the person that you're looking for. Because if you knock on somebody's door at 2 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't matter whose address it is. It can be your perp's address. Knock on their door at 2 o'clock in the morning, and somebody comes to the door and blows your head off, guess what? They'll win in court. You know, it happens. And you shoot back and injure or kill somebody that isn't your bondee, isn't the person that you're looking for, you're going to jail, man. That's all. That's what you deal with it. We don't get the same. I don't know. We're not looked at the same as law enforcement. You know, if law enforcement gets into a weapons altercation with somebody that has a gun in their own house, 9 times out of 10, that cop's going to get cleared because his life was in jeopardy. With us, it's different. You go knock on somebody's door and you got a gun, and they got a gun, and they use theirs before you can get to yours. Nah, they were defending their home at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's just the way it is. I could tell you story after story about times I've been shot at and couldn't shoot back. Times that I've had guns pulled on me and couldn't pull mine back. You know, they say better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6, but you really got to be squared away. You got to have a cool demeanor, a calm head on your shoulders. You got to know how to deal with situations. Just because you're wearing a badge does not give you the right to shoot somebody in their own home. You know, every circumstance, every situation has its own set of circumstances. I would defend my life if it came down to it, but I would do that always knowing that I'm not law enforcement in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And if the police feel like I was out of line, I'm going to prison. And that's all there is to it. Anyway, for those of you thinking about getting into the business, those are some of the ups and downs. It can be lucrative. It can be very lucrative. But you gotta have your wits about you. And where I live, it's only lucrative if you get people out of jail. It's not lucrative taking people back to jail. Anyway, that's all for this video. Hope that answered some questions. This has Ben, signing out.